Welcome to the book reading challenge. And here comes the chapter number 10, The Power of Discipline, from the book The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, written by Robin Sherman. He started this chapter with a small quotation. Sure, I am that this day we are masters of our fate, that the task which has been set before us is not above our strengths, that it pangs and toils are not beyond my endurance. As long as we have faith in our own cause and an unconquerable will to win, victory will not be denied by us. Victory will not be denied to us, said by Winston Churchill. Julian continued to use Yogi Raman's mystical fable as the cornerstone for the wisdom he was sharing with me. I had learned of the garden within my mind and a storehouse of the power and potential through the symbol of the lighthouse. I had learned the overriding importance of the definite purpose in life and effectiveness of goal setting. By the example of the 9 foot tall, 900-pound Japanese sumo wrestler, I had received the instruction on the timeless concept of Kaizen and the beautiful benefits of the self mastery would bring. Little did I know that the best will still to come. So this is the recap of the all the nine chapters. Now let us see. You will recall that our friend the sumo wrestler was stark naked, except for the pink wire cable covering his private parts. I interjected gamely. Right, applauded John. The pink wire cable will serve to remind you of the power of self control and the discipline in building a richer, happier, and more enlightened life. My teachers in Shivana were undoubtedly the most healthy, contented, and serene people I have ever met. They were also the most disciplined. These sages taught me that what the virtue of self discipline was like a wire cable. Have you ever really taken the time to study a wire cable, John? It wasn't it hasn't been high on my priority list, I confessed with a quick grin. Well, have a look at one wire sometime. You will see that it consists of many thin, tiny wires placed on the one on the top of the other. Also, each one is flimsy and weak, but together their sum is much greater than their constituent parts, and the cable becomes tougher than iron. Self control and willpower are similar to this. Self control and willpower together will become a wire. To build a will of iron, it is essential to take small, tiny acts in tribute to the virtue of personal discipline. Routinely perform the little acts pile one on the top of the another to eventually produce an abundance of inner strength. Perhaps the old African proverb says it's best. When spider webs unite, they tie up a lion. When spider webs unite, they tie up a lion. When you liberate your willpower, you become the master of your personal world. When you continually practice the ancient art of self government, there will be no hurdle too high for you to overcome, no challenge too tough to you to surmount, and no crisis too hard for you to cool down. Self discipline will provide you with the mental reserves required to the persevere when life throws you one of its little curves. I must also alert you to the fact that the lack of willpower is a mental disease. Lack of willpower is a mental disease, Julian added surprisingly. If you suffer from this weakness, make it a priority to stamp it out quickly. An abundance of willpower and discipline is one of the chief attributes of all those with strong characters and wonderful lives. Willpower allows you to do what you said you would do. When you said you would do it, it is willpower that allows you to get up at 5 in the morning, to cultivate your mind through meditation, or to feed your spirit by a walk in the woods when a cozy bed beckons you on a cold winter's day. It is willpower that allows you to hold your tongue when a less actualized person insults you or does something you disagree with. It is willpower that pushes your dreams forward when the odds appear to be insurmountable. It is willpower that offers you the inner power to keep your commitments to others and perhaps even more importantly to yourself. Is it really that much important, Julian? Most certainly, my friend. It is the essential virtue of every person who has created a life rich with passion, possibility, and peace. Julian then reached into his robe and pulled out a shiny silver locket, the kind you might see in a museum exhibit on ancient Egypt. You should not have, I joked. The sages of Shivana gave this gift to me on my last evening with them. It was a joyous, loving celebration between the members of a family who lived life to the fullest. Who lived the life to the fullest. One of my dream to live the life to the fullest. It was one of the greatest and saddest nights of my life. I didn't want to live the nirvana of Shivana. It was my sanctuary and oasis of all that was good in this world. The sages had become my spiritual brothers and sisters. I left a part of myself high in the Himalayas that evening. Julian said, his voice growing soft. What are the words engraved on the locket? Here I'll read them to you. Never forget them, John. They have really helped me when times got tough. When my times got tough, they have really helped me. I pray that they also bath you in comfort during times of difficulty. They said, keep remember these paragraph words. This pair of words will definitely help you to come out of your tough times. Let us repeat along with me. Through the steel of discipline, through the steel of discipline, you will forge a character rich with courage and peace. You will forge a character rich with courage and peace. Through the virtue of will, you are destined to rise to life's highest ideal and live within a heavenly mansion filled with all that is good, joyful, and vital. Through the virtue of will, you are destined to rise to life's highest ideal and live within a heavenly mansion filled with all that is good, joyful, and vital. Without them, you are lost. Without them, you are lost, like a mariner without a compass. Like a mariner without a compass, one who eventually sinks with his ship. One who eventually sinks with his ship. I have never really thought that about the importance of self-control. Although there have been many times I have wished I had more discipline. I admitted. Are you saying that I can actually build discipline the way my teenage son builds his biceps at local gym? The analogy is an excellent one. You condition your willpower just as your son conditions his body at the gym. Anyone, no matter how weak, how lethargic they might currently be, can grow discipline within a relatively short time. Mahatma Gandhi is a good example. When most people think of this modern day saint, they remember a man who could go weeks without food in the pursuit of his cause and endure tremendous pain for the sake of his convictions. But when you study Gandhi's life, you will see that he was not always a master of self control. You are not going to tell me that Gandhi was a chocoholic, are you? Not quite, John. As a young lawyer in the South Africa, he was given to passionate outbursts, and the disciplines of fasting and meditation were as foreign to him as the simple white loincloth, which eventually became his personal trademark in his later years. Are you saying that with the right blend of training and preparation, I could have the same level of willpower as Mahatma Gandhi? Everyone is different, John. One of the fundamental principles that Yogi Raman taught me was that truly enlightened people never seek to be like others. Truly enlightened people never seek to be like others. Rather, they seek to be superior to their former selves. Don't race against others, race against yourself. Don't race against others, race against yourself, Julian replied. When you have self control, you will have the resolve to do and the things you have always wanted to do. For you, it may be training for a marathon or mastering the art of white water rafting or even giving up the law to become an artist. Whatever it is you are dreaming of, whether it is material riches or spiritual riches, it will not be your judge. I will simply tell you that all these things will be within your grasp when you cultivate your sleeping reserves of willpower. Julian added, building self control and discipline into your life will also bring you a tremendous sense of freedom. This alone will change things. What do you mean, Julian? Most people have liberty. They can go where they want. They can go where they want and do the things they feel like doing. But too many people are also slaves to their impulses. They have grown reactive rather than proactive. They have grown reactive rather than proactive, meaning that they are like sea foam pounding against a rocky shore, going on whatever direction the tide might take them. If they are spending time with their families and someone from work calls with a crisis, they hit the ground running, never stopping to think which activity is more vital to their overall well being and to their life's purpose. So, after all, I have observed in my life, both here and in the West and in the East, I say that such people have liberty but lack freedom. They lack a key ingredient to a meaningful, enlightened life, the freedom to see the forest beyond the trees and the freedom to choose what is right over the what seems pressing. I could not help you but agree with Julian. Sure, I had little to complain about. I had a great family, a cozy home, and a bustling law practice. But I really could not say that I had achieved freedom. My pager was just as much as appendage as my right arm. I was always on the run in their life. I never seemed to have the time to communicate deeply with Jenny, my partner, and quiet time for myself in the foreseeable future was about as likely as me winning the Boston Marathon. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that I had probably never even tasted the nectar of true boundless freedom when I was younger. I guess I really was a slave to my weaker impulses. I always did whatever else everyone else told me I should be doing. And building willpower will offer me more freedom. Julian, building willpower will offer me more freedom. Freedom is like a house. You build it brick by brick, brick by brick. The first brick you should lay is the willpower. This quality inspires you to do what is right in any given moment. It gives you the energy to act with courage. It gives you the control to live the life you have imagined rather than accepting the life that you have. Julian also noted the many practical benefits that the cultivation of the discipline would bring. Believe it or not, developing the power of your willpower can erase the worry habit, keep you healthy, and give you far more energy than you ever had. You see, John, self control is really nothing more than mind control. Willpower is the king of mental powers. When you master your mind, you master your life. Mental mastery starts with being able to control every thought that you think. When you have developed the ability to discard all weak thoughts and focus only on those that are positive and good actions will follow. Soon you will start attracting all that is positive and good into your life. Here is an example. Let us see an example. Let us say one of your personal development goals is to get up every morning at 6 a.m. and go for a run around the park behind your place. Let us pretend it is now the middle of the winter and your alarm wakes you from a deep, restful sleep. Your first impulse is to hit the snooze button and return to your slumber. Perhaps you will live up to your exercise resolution tomorrow. Perhaps you might live up to your resolution tomorrow. This pattern continues for a few days until you decide that you are too old to change your ways and the physical fitness goal was too unrealistic. You know me too well, I offered sincerely. Now let us consider an alternative scenario. It is still the dead of winter. The alarm goes off and you started to think of staying in bed. But instead of being a slave to your habits, you challenge them with more powerful thoughts. You start to picture in your mind's eye how you will live, look, how you will feel, how you will act when you are in a peak physical shape. You hear the many compliments your colleagues at office offer you as you saunter past them with a svelte, trim physique. You are focused on all that you can accomplish with the increased energy a regular exercise program will bring. No more nights spent in front of the television because you are too tired to do anything else after your long day in your court. Your days are filled with vitality, enthusiasm, and meaning. But say I do this, I still feel like going back to sleep rather than going running in the morning. Initially, for the first few days, it will be a little difficult. and you will feel like going back to your old habits. But Yogi Raman believed that very strongly in one timeless principle in particular: positive always overcomes negative. Positive always overcome negative. So if you can continue to wage war against the weaker thoughts that might have silently crept into the palace of your mind over the years, eventually they will see that they are unwanted and live like visitors who know they are not welcome. You mean to tell me that thoughts are physical things? Yes, and they are fully in your control. It is just as easy to think positive as it is to think negative ones. Then why do so many people worry and focus on all the negative information in our world? Because they have not learned the art of self-control and disciplined thinking. Most people I have spoken to have no idea that they have the power to control every single thought they think every second of every minute of every day. They believe that thoughts just happen, and I have never realized that if you don't take the time to start controlling your thoughts, they will control you. When you start to focus on good thoughts only, then and refuse to think the bad ones through sheer willpower, I promise you they will shrivel up very quickly. So if I want to have the inner strength to get up earlier, eat less, read more, worry less, be more patient, or be more loving, all I have to do is exert my will to cleanse my thoughts. When you control your thoughts, you control your mind. When you control your mind, you control your life. And once you reach the stage of being in control, total control of your life, you become the master of your destiny. I needed to hear this. Through the course of this strange yet inspiring evening, I had gone from the being a skeptical litigator carefully studying a hard-shot lawyer turned yogi to a believer whose eyes had been opened for the first time in many years. I wished Jenny could hear all this. Actually, I wished my kids could hear this wisdom too. I knew it would affect them as it had me. I had always planned on being a better family man and living more fully, but I always found that I was too busy putting out all those little brush fires of life that seemed so pressing. Maybe this was a weakness, a lack of self control, an ability to see the forest for the trees, perhaps. Life was passing by so quickly. It seemed like just yesterday that I was a young law student full of energy and enthusiasm. I dreamed of becoming a political leader or even a supreme judge, court judge back then. But as time went by, I settled into a routine. Even as a cocky litigator, Julian used to tell me that complacency kills. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that I had lost my hunger. This was not a hunger for a bigger house or a faster car. This was a far deeper hunger, a hunger for living with more meaning, with more festivity, and more satisfaction. I started to daydream while Julian continued to talk. Oblivious to what he was now saying, I saw myself as a first as a 50-year-old and then as a 60-year-old man. Would I be stuck in the same job with the same people, facing the same struggles at that point of my life? I dreaded that. I had always wanted to contribute to the world in some way, and I sure was not doing it now. I think it was at that moment, with Julian sitting next to me on my living room floor on that sticky July night, that I changed. The Japanese call it Satori, mean instant awakening, and that's exactly what it was. I resolved to fulfill my dreams and make my life far more than it had ever been. That was first taste of real freedom. That was my first taste of real freedom. The freedom that comes when you decide once and for all to take charge of your life and all its constituent elements. I will give you a formula for developing willpower, said Julian, who had no idea of the inner transformation I had just experienced. Wisdom without proper tools for its application is no wisdom at all. Remember this point. Wisdom without proper tools for application is no wisdom at all. Wisdom without proper tools for its application is no wisdom at all. He continued, every day while you are walking to work, I would like you to repeat a few simple words. Is this one of those mantras you told me about earlier? I asked. Yes, it is. It is one that has been in existence for over 5,000 years, although only the small band of Shivanan monks have known about it. Yogi Raman told me that by its repetition, I would develop self-control and an indomitable will within a short period of time. Remember, words are great influences. Words are great influences. Words are great influences. Words are the verbal embodiment of power. By fulfilling your mind with words of hope, you become hopeful. By filling your mind with the words of kindness, you become kind. By filling your mind with the thoughts of courage, you become courageous. Words have power, Julian observed. Now, let us see the mantra in the next part of this video or say this chapter. See you in another video. Until then, stay connected, keep progressing, keep reading every day. Thank you so much.